Much love, many blessings. Moving on to the air sign of duality of Gemini, ruled by Mercury. And Gemini definitely always has fast-paced movement, I find, when it moves through the fire signs, especially through the Aries season. Um, Air has a tendency, definitely when restricted through cold, to not vibrate the way it wants to. And this heat is definitely creating a lot of expansion for things that have been well, essentially, for lack of a better pun, sitting on ice. In particular, as we're coming out of these prisons, so to speak, these mental prisons of limitations, of fears, and decisions that have kind of held you back, really leading up to now, from coming from the 2020 aftermath and whatnot and setbacks. Seeing the love message come up of "I love you" is pretty blunt from spirit. It is a call, especially with Gemini being the sign of Mercury in the lungs and the throat, and speaking and communication and processing. Gemini tends to operate past emotions, or just above emotions, so to speak, or I want to say unattached, detached from emotions, like a lot of air signs. I love you coming up during this time is a powerful call for Geminis to, in particular, to reflect on the power of their words. Right, these words are very powerful. It's really a reflection that you have not been giving out you have not been saying what it is that you truly mean. And reflecting on my rising sign as a Gemini, this is truly a call to finding ways to not be speaking on a situation and speaking to the point. Gemini, you have a tendency with your expression to focus on a truth when there are many truths, and sometimes if you focus on one truth, you may ignore the other truths, or the polarity. So much so that sometimes you may hold off on sharing that truth because you feel that it may offend the person that you're holding that truth back from. So there can be this holding back of power, because spells and words are power. There have been ways in which you could enrich people's lives around you and to aid those that you truly care about and love. Now, I love you coming up as an oracle during this time is also a reflection that you have been surrounded by a lot of people who love and appreciate you, but you have not necessarily been showing your appreciation for these people. You've just kind of been sitting in the energy. You've been around, and it's kind of like, oh, well, you should just know. You know, it's kind of like this fucking telepathy thing. This is a call that the people around you need to hear it. You need to give this energy out. Open sesame. You have to speak the fucking word. You need to say, I love you. You need to say it more. You either need to hear it or you need to say it. You need to be expressing it. And I don't care who it's to or what it's to. If you love your work, you need to say it. You need to let it be known. Your spirit needs to hear you say it. If you love your fucking partner who's been down and riding for you in spite of their flaws or whatnot, you need to tell them that you love them. They need to hear these appreciation. It's time for you to get into love language and express the words of affection that need to be expressed the way that they need to be expressed. If you're in need of needing to hear love, you need to look in the mirror and do some mirror work and tell yourself you love yourself until it doesn't feel awkward anymore. You need to love your body. You need to touch your body. You need to give love and expression and intimacy to those that need those that need it the most. If it's you, then you need to start giving it to yourself. There's a lot of power during this time, and the fact that the coinciding message is a confirmation reminding you that these words are powerful is also confirmation of how powerful the manifesting intensity of the Aries season is. Aries is the sign of the first house, so it has the natural ability to be able to create or to do. Mars energy is a planet of war and assertion, so that's putting it out there with force. So Aries has a natural forceful energy to a fault. So the only thing that you need to really be doing during this time is expressing and thinking on who this expression is most important to. Put it out there. Don't be petty. Now is not the time to be cold and be in your pettiness. Now is not the time to ignore your emotional body. Now is not the time to hold off on the simple things that could do so much. You don't have to go out of your way, but you have divine light and energy within your words and within your energy body. And you could do so much more to play this music, to speak this divine music, and put this divine frequency out for those around you. You, in a sense, owe it to those around you that have gotten you to this point and have empowered you to be where you are during this time. Four of Cups, that's the confirmation to bring focus to the matter, especially since we're speaking on I love you and the power of who we love and what love is to you. Four of Cups is definitely denoting to go to the past, to focus on those parts that aren't necessarily illuminated, to bring some awareness and to really reflect on this matter. It's a call to reflect and to see who are you holding this energy up. Are you hoarding this energy? Are you holding on? Are you closing the clamp down on the matter when you could just release it? Was it a slight sting? Did somebody slight you in a way that was a petty sting and you've blown it out of proportion? And you could really be having so much more right now, but you want to hold on to these petty feelings, onto this grievance. Four of Cups is really holding on to a matter and focusing heavily on the emotional matter. It can even be depression or brooding or a fixation. And with the Nine of Cups being here is a call that there are wishes, there are desires, and there's a lot that you want to embody and expand on. So it's time to let this energy spill into the areas that feel like lack. There's a tendency to not want to rip off band-aids to put on new ones, because simply having to acknowledge the fact that you needed the band-aid means that you have to acknowledge the fact that there was some hurt, or that there's a vulnerability or a need for more. Sometimes there's even a call for you to reflect on what intimacy is for you, what self-pleasure and masturbation is for you, because you have a tendency to not know, like, hey, it's like there are things that you can't satisfy for yourself. There's things that self-pleasuring can satisfy that sex can't, and vice versa. But it's almost as if you're operating from a space that if you can masturbate or self-pleasure the things that require somebody external or opposite of you to create this dynamic, you're assuming that you can create the self-pleasure for what requires a sexual intercourse or an operation of two or more parties. You are not creating this love dynamic on your own, and you cannot self-pleasure yourself into sexual intercourse. You need the other party, you need the other energy, you need the polarity. So acknowledge the areas within your space where the polarity is lacking, where the polarity that you specifically desire for your heart is needed, and give that love. Speak those I love yous into the areas, the people, the energies, the emotions, the perceptions, the situations, and the love dynamics within your space that need that expression of love so that you can receive that back. The Nine of Cups is a satisfying of wishes, is a satisfying of yoni energy, of the nectar. You have to let that shit drip from you. So that means that this is also a call that you may be denying that you even want to give up what's required to receive more. You're so set with the waters that you're in, you're so set with this one perception that you can't even receive more. As we move through the Aries season, and as you take your divine breath, bring awareness to the areas that you are avoiding how you feel. Are you avoiding expression because it's uncomfortable? Are you suppressing the matter or just avoiding of the emotions entirely? Are you being cold to a situation that you don't have to be? As you take your divine breath, make the declaration of your love, of who and what you love and what you live for. Bring that to the forefront of your heart and throat chakra. Let this resonate within the deepest part of your center so that you can make the most maximum use of this wisdom and spiritual energy. Much love, many blessings, and Ashe.